Hello there, good people. Welcome to It's a Shaw Thing. I'm your host, Rob Shaw, here to talk a little fantasy football. And once again, we prepare you for a new and exciting game over at foxsports.com. It's called the Fox Fantasy Quick Challenge, and we're talking about the fast draft here. So on that note, I'm going to go over some of the best picks in all of fantasy football right now. Think of it this way, a pretty unique opportunity. Forget what's happened so far in your fantasy football league. It's a chance for you to start all over. You have a draft every week, and for this week, these are the guys that I recommend you pick up. And by the way, if you have any questions, any comments, go ahead and email them our way, fantasycontent@opensports.com. Well, now let's kick off. The number one guy I'd pick up in fantasy leagues this week is Chris Johnson of the Tennessee Titans. This guy's unbelievable. In fact, this week, there's no question about it, he's going to end up surpassing 1,000 rushing yards on the season. Mind you, this is his 9th game of the season. Chris Johnson's the best out there. I know some people say, well, what about Adrian Peterson? Well, Peterson's playing against the Lions this weekend. He'll be lucky if he ends up playing more than a half against that pitiful team. We move on to the number 2 pick in fantasy football this weekend, and that's going to be Kurt Warner of the Arizona Cardinals. Warner coming off 5 touchdowns last weekend. This is a guy you definitely want to get into your fantasy lineup, particularly when you consider what he did against the Seattle Seahawks last time the two teams met, and that is humiliate them at Seattle. Next up, I'd pick Tony Romo of the Dallas Cowboys. He has been hot lately. He's at the focal point of the turnaround for the Cowboys this season. Now, as good as the Cowboys have been offensively, is as bad as the Green Bay Packers have been defensively. Now, the big stat for you is over the last 4 games, Tony Romo, 9 touchdowns compared to just 1 interception. Next up, running back position, New York Jets, Thomas Jones. Remember, Leon Washington out for the year, so they only have Sean Green behind him, which means a lot of carries coming in the direction of Thomas Jones. And don't worry about his age, the whole 30-plus club, it's all right. He's actually enjoying his best season of his career so far. He's had over 100 yards rushing in each of the last 3 games. He's a solid pick against the Jacksonville Jaguars. And to round out your top 5, I'm going to go with Drew Brees of the New Orleans Saints. Obviously an elite quarterback out there. A lot of people wondering, well, what about Peyton Manning, Tom Brady? They're playing against each other this weekend, and they go against pretty respectable defenses. On the other hand, Drew Brees and the Saints go against the St. Louis Rams. Only concern is that they might do so well in the first half, he might get some rest in the 4th quarter, but don't worry too much about that. The good news is that weather not an issue, once again playing indoors, which is what Brees does best. Well, my friends, those are your top 5 picks in fantasy football. And again, if you're coming off of a bad week or so far the season's been a disappointment, just head over to foxsports.com, take part in the Fox Fantasy Quick Challenge Fast Draft Edition. You can start your season all over again. Well, that's all for now. Any questions or comments, email us at fantasycontent@opensports.com. I'm Rob Shaw. Have a great weekend.